Let's rock. Please welcome to BraveWords Streaming for Vengeance, the legendary drummer, Mr. Carmine Appice. Hello, sir.
I'm screaming for vengeance.
Yes, yes. It looks like you are. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm real good. I'm very busy and things are good. I'm in New York now. We have a place in New York, but we moved to Florida. Me and my wife, she was radio in New York, and she had this place here before I met her, and we moved to Florida a year and a half ago, right in the middle of COVID. And while being in Florida, I set up a recording studio there, which is the reason why I did that album with Fernando Perdomo, you know. And it's funny because a couple of days ago, we just had the release of our second video, the second single, Flower Child. And it was premiered by Goldmine magazine.
Right, right.
Today, a video came out for my Guitar Zeus 25th anniversary box set with Tommy Thayer on it.
I just saw that alert on my phone, actually. BraveWords reporting on it.
Yeah, it was presented by Ultimate Classic Rock. And they weren't supposed to be the same week. It was supposed to be, the other one was supposed to be last week, but something got messed up and they moved it to this week. And I thought this one this week was going to be next week, you know, but it's funny, it's 2 days apart. So it's really wrong, but they're both really good projects. And you know, I did it all during COVID.
Dude, I think so many people have been very productive during COVID. What other options did you have, right?
Exactly. What else are you going to do? You know, just sit around and watch television. I hardly ever watch television, you know. I never, not for the last 20 years, sat down like every night, watched television. Maybe in the last couple of months, me and my wife watched some things on Apple, you know, TV, like the morning show or you know, something that was really catched our eye. You know, we'd watch it every Friday. But as far as like every night watching it, you know, unless we missed 3 weeks, then we'd sit down one night and watch 3 episodes, you know. But, you know, to sit there and like watch football and watch baseball and, you know, I never do that.
Yeah, it's sad that it's kind of a thing in the past. It's a Netflix world too, right?
Totally. I mean, I watch Netflix on my phone. I never watch it on a screen, on the TV screen. It's because I like to walk around while I'm watching and do stuff, you know.
Well, let's talk about the business at hand. The Guitar Zeus was really funny. As I said, I just saw it pop up on my phone. But this is about the app. Is there an app for the app? Have you heard that joke yet?
I know. It actually, I told the label, I said, we should use that in the advertising. Like, download the app now. I did it on my Facebook. When I put up the new video, I said, you know, download the Appice Perdomo, you know, project, and in parentheses app. I said, download the app at iTunes now, you know.
Nice.
And I think it's a good marketing ploy, you know.
Absolutely. But what's like, you're such a seasoned veteran, obviously. What does it take to pique your interest musically these days? This guy's resume is stunning, but most of us have never heard of him. So yeah, what
well, I mean, it just happened. Timing was perfect for this. Okay, so what happened was we moved to Florida. I had a guest house. My brother Vinny is a computer geek who's had a studio in his house for many years. I told him I wanted to get a studio going. He says, well, I'll build you a computer. It'll be all souped up, really powerful. And I'll get you all the equipment, everything needed to set up your studio at home. And I'll test it at my house, and then I'll send it to you, and then I'll get on the phone with you and FaceTime, and I'll show you how to work it. And I said, great. So we did that. And I did, like my first recording was something that for Cleopatra, it was a Pink Floyd tribute album. Now I engineered it myself. Well, it came out okay. And then gradually I started changing drums. I got my double bass drum kit in there, and I got some old bass drums and old snare drums and drums that sound really good. I mic'd them up, and I started playing with the sounds, and I started getting better sounds. And then I did another thing for Cleopatra. I did a Brian Auger track with, it was actually me and Brian Auger did it for Arthur Brown, we did over his song Fire.
Right.
know?
Okay.
So I did that, and I engineered it myself, and I got a better drum sound. And then I did some stuff for Modern Drummer, and I ended up engineering Nico McBrain for Modern Drummer at my house. And now I'm getting really good at this, you know. So then I get a call from Tom Dowd's daughter, who, you know, I know Tom Dowd produced all the Rod stuff I did with him. And
Right.
I knew Tom from Atlantic, from Vanilla Fudge days and Cactus and all. So, and they said, look, there's this guy named Fernando Perdomo. Tom was working with him before he passed away. And he wants you to know if you'd play on a couple of tracks of his. And I'm thinking, well, you know what? I don't normally play on unknown guys' albums, but, you know, this might be an interesting situation where I could keep recording in my studio and learn how to operate. you
Right.
know? So he called me and we talked, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll send you a song that I wrote on my iPad. I wrote everything on it, you know, the melody and the chords and the bass and the drum. I'll send it to you. You duplicate it, embellish it your own way, send it back to me with a click. I'll play drums and let's see how it sounds. And when he sent it back, I was blown away. The guy was pretty amazing. So that song was called Thunder. That was the first song we recorded.
Mhm.
And I said, oh, let me send you another one. I sent him another one. And that song was the Funky Jackson song, right? And I put drums on it, we mixed it, and it sounded great. So then he sent me one that he wrote. And then I added onto his song with this really fast, heavy, you know, like rock double bass drum shuffle. And he wrote a guitar part to it. And that became Little Havana and Big Havana, you know?
Nice.
So then I'm seeing that he can write the drum sections. So I sent him a session that I had of just the drums. And he wrote this song called Pure Ecstasy. It was funky as hell. I said, wow, this guy is great. So then I said, let's just keep recording, you know? So we didn't talk about his album or a album. We just kept recording. I
Right.
sent him 5 tracks of drums. I sent him more stuff from my iPad. He sent me more stuff. I sent him, Do You Think I'm Sexy as a reggae? He sent me Maybe I'm Amazed. And we never had any arguments. It was always like, well, I think this should be shorter or that longer. Or he'd say to me something. I'd say, I think that should be in 6/8 timing, or that should be in 7/4 there. And, you know, it was always, okay, let's try it. Okay, let's try it. And we never had any arguments or anything. And we kept sending stuff back and forth. Eventually, we had 18 songs done,
Wow.
and they were instrumental. So I said, you know what? I'm going to call Cleopatra and see if they would release this. You know, so I called the owner of Cleopatra. I know since he started Cleopatra, and he said, yeah, let's do it. So we did it, and he gave us a little bit video budget, and we did a couple of videos, and we picked 12 songs, and here we are.
Now, in all your travels, who do you hear in Fernando in terms of an artist?
Well, it's funny because you know, I have a show called Hanging and Banging that's on every Thursday night. And tonight we have Joe Bonamassa and Don McLean on as
Wow.
guests. You know, and so one night we had Susie Quattro on it. Now, I know Susie from the old days, and Rod and Jeff and all that.
Mhm.
So the next day she emailed me and she said, yeah, I'd love for you to play on my record. Would you send me something that you've done recently? So I sent her a song called Flower Child. So when she emailed me back, she said, is that who I think it is on guitar? I said, who do you think it is? And she says, Jeff Beck, because he sounds like Jeff Beck on that track.
Right.
I said, no, it's not. It's my buddy Fernando. I got this new record out. And she loved it so much, she wanted to write lyrics and melody to it. You know, but when she found out that's our next single, she said, well, let's do another song, you know? But, so that's the thing. He can sound like anybody, you know? And he makes the guitar talk like Jeff Beck does, you know? And he's not like a virtuoso like Yngwie, where everything's a, you know?
Right.
He plays with a lot of soul, a lot of feel, and a lot of dynamics and sounds.
A lot of power and no show off.
Yes, exactly. And you know, the good thing about it is you could remember the melodies, even though like I wrote some of the melodies, but the way he played them and performed them with the dynamics, you know, like one time I'm in the shower and I'm hearing this melody in my head. I'm going, well, what is that? And it was one of our songs, you know, because there's hooks, there's guitar hooks that would like lyrical hooks, except they're guitar hooks, you know.
Now, is there a voice in your future when it comes to this project, or was it written without a voice in mind?
It was written without a voice in mind, you know, and when we did it and I started doing getting reviews, people were saying that this might be the album to help bring musical instrumental albums back, you know, where your guitar's talking, you know, and the hooks are there. There's drum hooks or there's guitar hooks, and you know, that kind of thing, versus all going on, you know.
So you're talking, we need like another Surfing with the Alien. We need another person that can actually build a career out of,
like
right?
Blow by Blow, like I was on
Yeah.
Blow by Blow with Jeff. I was there when we created it, helped create it. And unfortunately, I ended up not on it for legal reasons, but you know, I know what that's like to make those kind of records, you know, and I think we have something unique, and it just happened by accident, you know.
What I'm just find it so remarkable. You're going to be turning 75 next month, correct?
Yeah.
And you are renowned for being heavy and still staying heavy. Yes, of course you're versatile, but it's I just find it wonderful that I'm talking to somebody that's traveled so many places, but you still want to be heavy.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. I didn't go the Rod Stewart, and do, you know, like big band crooner stuff, you know. I mean, but even Vanilla Fudge, we released "Stop in the Name of Love," a new track, and it's pretty heavy, you know. I mean, not heavy in the Metallica or those bands that have the vocals, you know. To me,
Cookie Monster.
I don't get the Cookie Monster vocals. You know, I like some of the music that, you know, with the double bass, and it's a different kind of music that, you know. In my era, the drums followed the bass. In that era, the drums followed the guitar, you know.
So what does the future hold with this project, given COVID and all this other crap that's going on? Where do you want to take it?
Well, we already got 6 songs for another album. So we may finish another 6 songs, maybe release another album, and then maybe do some key gigs, like maybe one in LA, one in Florida, one in New York, you know, one in Chicago, you know, maybe do a handful of shows and see how it goes, you know, because, you know, I mean, it takes money to get out there and play.
Right.
And you have to get enough money so you can get out and play, make enough money to pay the bills and put something in your pocket, you know. And even though I've been around a long time, you know, I don't warrant $20,000 a night. You know, I'd like to, but
yeah, of course.
You know, but
do you mind if we bounce around your career a little bit, because
sure.
There's just so much history here, and my God, I don't even know where to begin. But I will say that I was born when really you got your first big break in 1967. Not that I'm trying to date you, but
yeah, so you're 55 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
55. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife's planning
I
a
could
party.
say to you, I've been doing this all your life.
Yeah, yes, I know. And it started with the Supremes cover, which is such a wonderful cover. And what did Motown mean to you guys back then?
Motown was awesome. Are you kidding me? It was some of the best songs, some of the best playing rhythm sections, you know, of all time. And we loved all that stuff. We love Motown, we love Atlantic, we love Stax, we love all that stuff. And we loved the Beatles from like Revolver on, you know, that era. You know, Eleanor Rigby. We did like Day Tripper, you know, a couple of those tracks. But you know, when the Beatles first came out, I thought they were hokey. You know, I thought they were teeny bopper and
it was teeny bopper stuff, right? Bubblegum stuff.
Bubblegum, yeah, you know, because I was playing James Brown and, you know, R&B, you know, Aretha Franklin and James Brown and Motown and all that. Not even Vanilla Fudge, but my band that I have, this guy, Dean Parrish, who's a soul singer, you know? And, but, you know, we loved Motown. And, you know, our concept was to take the lyrics and match the lyrics emotionally to the music. We take it, keep me hanging on. It's like, set me free, why don't you, baby? And they're smiling, get out my life. You know, it's not a happy song.
Right.
You know? So we took that and put the emotion into it. And we did that with Eleanor Rigby. We did that with She's Not There. We did that with Ticket to Ride. We did that with People Get Ready. All those songs on that first album was basically our stage show, you know, which we did at clubs. But we noticed every time we did some of those songs, like People Get Ready, You Keep Me Hanging On, people would gather in the front of the stage and watch us instead of like trying to dance to us. And I emphasize the word trying, because, you know, our music was not really a dance thing, you know?
Right.
It was more of a, you know, smoke pot and have a good time.
Now, is it true that it was just one take with You Keep Me
Yes.
Hanging On?
It was one take.
Because
One take.
one issue I have with so many bands, I'm not going to mention the names, they just spend way too much time tweaking and turning the knobs, and you got to leave that studio at some point in time, right?
Yeah, well, the problem now is everybody's doing recordings from their home, including myself.
Right.
And me and Fernando did that whole thing. I didn't meet him for 3 months.
Yeah.
In person. But, you know, with my experience in playing and his experience, I never play like a lot of the bands today. What they do, they go in the studio, here's the drum groove for the verse. Here's the drum groove for the pre-chorus. Here's the drum groove for the chorus. Here's the drum groove for the solo. You know what I mean? And everything is exactly the same. Every verse, every pre-chorus. I never played like that.
Right.
And that's why I have problems doing videos, you know, because I can't match what I played, because I played whatever I played was played from the heart and soul of that moment.
Right.
I don't stick around and go, oh, well, this is the groove for the verse, and this is the groove for that, and this, you know. Anyway, so I think that's part of the problem today. Even if you're in the studio,
Right.
it's a matter of you got to play from the heart, not so much from the head. And there's one band that I won't mention names either that did everything from the head, and they're huge.
Yeah.
And every time you go to see them, they just stood there, played exactly like the record, and what a light show.
Right.
And it was boring.
Yeah.
Boring, because, you know, if you want to hear everything exactly like the record, you can stay home with big speakers and put the record on.
It's a lot cheaper, and the booze
And a
is cheaper.
picture of them.
Yeah, right.
You know?
You brought up a question that I don't have written down. I wanted to remember it. What was your first professionally filmed video then? Going back to the beginning.
You mean like a promotion video? Like,
Yeah, like a record label promotion video.
well, the first one actually we did was in 1968 that never came out. But I just took the footage of that and I inserted it over the track of Stop in the Name of Love that we just did, which I gave to the label to release as a second video for the same song, but they didn't do it, you know? So that was the first one we ever did. So it was never released. I don't know if they're gonna release it, but if they don't, we'll probably put it up on our Facebooks and our website and stuff like that. But it's not up yet. But the actual first video I ever recorded for promotion was Hot Legs with Rod.
Wow. And you struggled to keep up with your own drum beat.
Well, when that one was a little different because it was a concept video. There was only blips of the band playing a little bit. If you look at that video, it was shot through some woman's legs that was spread like that. You saw the drum set there for a second. Other times you just saw us like jumping on, you know, walking across train tracks and driving all of us on the top of a truck, and you know, just it was just a concept video, you know, out in the desert in LA, you know. Then the next one we did was I think You're in My Heart, with Rod, where we played a little bit, and that was easy because it was an easy song, and being with Rod, the camera was mostly on Rod. And then the next one was Do You Think I'm Sexy? Now that was hard because if you look at the video and you listen to the drum fills, you'll see I didn't know where the fills were, right? When I heard it coming, I was late coming in doing it.
Right.
In those days, we shot the whole video with everybody, so they didn't say, they did one pass with me playing drums. If I didn't get it, that's sorry, but that has 160 million views now.
And I must show you because I bought this when I was 10.
What is it?
It's the original 45.
There it is.
At Sears for $1.17 Canadian.
There you go.
I'm trying to figure out a way to frame this question because obviously this song has paid a lot of your bills. And I'm kind of relating it with the changing music business. So I was trying to think, so Do You Think I'm Sexy as this really valuable stock that's been paying you money forever? When did it come recently where you started to see the way revenues changed in the music business and you saw this particular little snapshot go, wow, I'm earning less money. Why?
It
Because
must
of
have been
Spotify.
5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
Because I saw the mechanicals go from enormous amount
Right.
to nothing.
Yeah.
Not nothing. I don't know, to 6 figures from 7 and 8 figures,
Wow. Well, I'm not trying to pry about the money, but
No. So then, so what do you do? The only thing that makes money with those kind of songs now, which that Young Turks and all the other songs I own, is ASCAP. ASCAP gives you the airplay because that song and Young Turks and some of the other songs, You Keep Me Hanging On and stuff. But we don't get ASCAP for You Keep Me Hanging On, but they're the ones that get a lot of airplay still. But so I saw it coming. So my other job or my other thing that I love to do is I do real estate on the side, right? So I said, well, I'm going to sell back to Warner Brothers, who had most of the publishing from Rod and everything else. And I'll sell it back to them. And EMI, I'll sell Young Turks back to them, but I'll keep the ASCAP.
Okay.
Right? And I'll buy real estate, which generates much more money than Sexy was generating. But I mean, if you get it in a movie, you'll get big money.
Right.
You would think a song like Do You Think I'm Sexy? What kind of commercial would you visualize that being in? Do you think I'm sexy? Like a Victoria's Secret?
Exactly. Countless.
Yeah, count. We only had one commercial.
Wow.
You know what that was? Chocolate chip cookies, Chips Ahoy.
Really? What year was that?
It's probably 10 years ago.
Is that Rod turning it down or?
No, Rod don't care, Let's see, that's just the people, wanting it. And it just blows me away. And that's why when I was selling it, I said, you know what? We got one commercial in 40 years, and it's a cookie commercial. So, I'm just going to sell it back to them because I was always waiting for the next commercial to buy it, the next commercial,
Well, that just cries out some kind of mismanagement or something.
Unbelievable, so.
Totally. Sticking with Rod, and you actually brought up the whole songbook series. It would be lovely to see Rod rock again. Why do you think he's not following your footsteps of staying?
Well, I think he had some problem with his voice. Number one, he had some sort of thyroid cancer at one point, and I think that affected his voice. I met with him a month ago in Florida. We went out for a drink, hung out, and I have reflux. It's affecting my voice. He has it too, which is affecting his voice. So when he had the thyroid stuff, it's a funny story with Rod. Him and the producer that produced those things, Rod was signed to Atlantic at the time, and they went to meet with Ahmet Erdogan and said, Rod said, I want to do this crooner stuff, and Ahmet said, not on my label, you won't. So he let him go. He went on another label, He sold more records than they ever sold.
Yeah.
You know, for those 3 albums, he sold 30 million albums. You know,
I'm not coming from the point of criticizing because I am a rocker, but yeah, it was a very intelligent career move.
He is doing a Faces album, but basically the Faces only him, Kenny Jones, and Rod. That's it. You know, and I don't know who they're going to get to play bass and keyboard. You know, because it was those guys died.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I told Rod, I said, I'd like to come to one of your gigs and come on stage and play Sexy and play Hot Legs with you, you know, because I played on the record, you know.
Yeah.
I co-wrote this, you know, Young Turks. I mean, I can play those songs. I have a show called The Rod Experience, which has guys that played with Rod. And we do the 1979 Kick-Ass Rod show, you know. But I never played Young Turks with Rod, so we do play Young Turks as well. The guy sounds just like Rod, looks like Rod, and they got you know Paul Warren that played with Rod 14 years. I have different people. I had Phil Chen who played with Rod. I had Jimmy Crespo who played with Rod, and the only one that I didn't have was a keyboard player that played with Rod.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
But it was a kick-ass show. We went to China with it. We went to Macau. We did shows there. We did shows in Dallas, shows on the East Coast, you know. And lately, I haven't been doing any, but there is a show booked for next year. But I'm trying to hook up with some managers that could really get that show going because you know, you got like the show going out, Killer Queen. They're a tribute to Queen. They've been 30, 40 grand a night, you know.
Nice. Nice.
Crazy.
Do you have some more time? Are you okay for time?
I got another 10 minutes. That's about
Okay.
it.
Let's be quick here. Because I want to just touch upon Jeff Beck real briefly. And you're probably one of the only people on the planet that's been honored to watch him from behind. So what is it like working with that kind of a maestro?
Well, I mean, when we started working with Jeff, we were like even as far as influence and creativity and all that stuff, you know. But the first time we worked with Jeff, Vanilla Fudge did a Coke commercial, and our guitar player got sick, so we had the same attorney as the Jeff Beck group. Jeff was in town for his first tour, and so Jeff came and played the Coke commercial with us, and that Coke commercial is on YouTube. You know,
Wow.
Vanilla Fudge Coke commercial. I sang it. Jeff played guitar, and Tim and Mark Stein, and that's what we said. Wow, Jeff is great. And then after a while, you know, Jeff wanted to play with me and Tim. And we started doing it. It wasn't easy to get together. We did get together. And Jeff was like us, you know, we were leaders in our you know, what's the word? And yeah, well, not only leaders in our field, but leaders on our instrument, that people that we influenced, that Tim influenced a lot of people. I influenced people. Jeff influenced people, but Jeff wasn't huge yet, you know? And, you know, that's why it was Beck, Bogert, and Appice. It was equal bill.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
And, you know, there's no other thing he's been involved with ever had Beck, Bogert, and Appice equal bill to their names, you know?
Right.
We have a live album due out, hopefully next year, live at the London Rainbow with 7 new songs on it.
Awesome.
You know? And which is really great if it comes out, because now he's a bigger name and it's still Beck, Bogert, and Appice, you know?
Right.
You know, so, and I mixed it. You know, I was involved in the mixing. So, but you know, Jeff was a very introverted kind of guy, really into building cars. We were all into cars and motorcycles, and you know, I had a Pantera. Tim had a Pantera. Jeff had Corvettes and hot rods. You know, I had Jaguars, and you know, Tim had motorcycles. And you know, we would pull up to gigs in America in the 2 Panteras. You know, we'd pull into the back of the Coliseum with Panteras. It was a lot of fun, you know. And then, you know, I got involved with Jeff after we broke up with Blow by Blow. It never happened, even though, you know, I was involved. I recorded 5 or 6 songs with George Martin. It was a great experience. And legalities through the record company, you know, we couldn't get it together. So they replaced me. They released Blow by Blow, and it was the biggest thing he ever did. And that freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was involved in it. Me and Jeff used to drive in my car or our cars on gigs and listen to like Mahavishnu Orchestra and Billy Cobham and all these instrumental jazz rock stuff. And we both were loving it, you know? And so I wanted to play it, he wanted to play it. And then he got to do it on Blow by Blow. And when I was involved, I was very happy to do it. And then when I couldn't finish it, it kind of bummed me out, you know? And then it came out and sold 2 million copies and made him bigger. I said, wow, you know, but we still were friends. And, you know, and then we, you know, he's just a nice guy, you know, great talent. And, but, you know, he's not like a lot of other guitar players that I know that the guitar is always in their hand.
Right.
They're always playing. Somebody asked me that the other day, you know, and because he loved cars. He loved building cars. And like, if he didn't have a guitar on, you know, he was building a car.
Sweet. Can I fast forward to the 80s?
Yeah.
One of my favorite records from this era is the Blue Murder record.
Of course.
And
like everybody.
It should have been like the follow-up to Whitesnake 87. It should have been as big. Yeah. I don't know if Geffen fumbled the ball, but there's not a poor track on it. You guys look all glammed up. You sound amazing. It's so powerful. The production is just sick.
Bob Rock and Mike Fraser.
Mike Fraser, yeah.
I mean, we did, you know, in those days, I still do. I recorded to clicks, you know, because I was always mad at the fact that we're doing the track. Here's take number 15 for the drums. Get the drums right. If you make a mistake, you do it over. But then bass player, guitarists, singers, they can punch in, you know, they can keep the verse. And I said, you know what? I got to do that with the drums. So I started doing that in 82 with Vanilla Fudge. So by the time Blue Murder came, I was well versed at it. So we did the whole album, right? We did the whole album, drum tracks. And Bob came up and he said, you know what? We're getting a much better drum sound now. How would you feel about redoing all the tracks? I said, let's do it. I said, you know, this, you know, for me, this is like the best album I'm going to do since the days of BBA and, you know, and the Fudge and all that stuff, you know?
Right.
Because we were all so into it. So I redid all the drums and I made sure I didn't repeat a drum fill on any song. Every drum fill was different, you know? And then Tony did their parts and it was amazing. I think we didn't have the right manager. So because we didn't have the manager, we had nobody to control us or the label. So like when we did Valley of the Kings, we spent so much money for that video,
right,
that we wanted it on heavy rotation on MTV, you know? But Geffen was saying, no, we don't want this one to be, we want to do the next one, but we didn't care. But we didn't have a manager because we fired the manager who was a lawyer, an agent, and John Sykes' stepdad. You know, there was no team. There was no real good team. By the time we got a real manager in there, it was too late, you know? So Geffen spent all their money and all their push on Valley of the Kings, like on MTV, and that wasn't the right song. Jelly Roll was the right song.
Right.
You know, even though Jelly Roll went top 5 in radio airplay, the kind of momentum and push it needed, you know, from the video would have been done by Geffen, but it wasn't because the first video that we told them to push didn't do it. You know, and I would have bet my house that this album would have went platinum.
Easily. Absolutely easily.
And everybody wants Blue Murder to do gigs. And we just can't get John out of the house.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah, I love John as a guy. Yeah, he was like a brother, me, him, and Tony. That's why I did the Guitar Zeus records, because I had Tony, me, and Kelly Keeling, who was on the second Blue Murder record. That's why that record sounds a little bit like Blue Murder, you know? And you got all these great guitar players on it. So it's in the same vein as Blue Murder. I don't know if you've heard all those tracks, but that's some of the best stuff I've done, you know?
No, I have. I know we're pressed for time here. One of my first Pink Floyd concerts was Momentary Lapse of Reason. So being with Gil, like that is just like one of the most life-changing experiences to see that band live. And obviously I was a little late to the game, but working with that team and Mr. Gilmore. Wow.
It was just a session, but Bob Ezrin called me and said that there's a band screaming for Carmine drum fills. And I called him back. I said, "Who's the band?" He said, "Pink Floyd." I said, "Well, where's Nick?" He said,
Yeah.
we used to tour with them in the old days with Vanilla Fudge in the 60s, So Nick is driving his Ferraris, his calluses are soft and they want some new blood. And this, I see your drum fills all over this track. I said, "Oh, okay." So I went down to the studio and I knew all these guys and spent the whole day with them, doing that. And then I filled up, I don't know how many, 24 tracks to do that. And Bob just edited all the drum parts together. I never heard the finished product until it came out.
Wow.
Even I kept asking him, what's it sound like? And he kept saying, "Fantastic, well, amazing."
Trust me.
Yeah. And he said, "Call me next week." And I was doing a movie called Black Roses. It was a heavy metal horror movie, like one of B movies.
Yeah.
And I was in Canada, and you're from Canada, right? So
I am, yes.
Toronto. I was in Hamilton.
That's where I went to university.
Underneath the streets, they have the malls,
Yeah.
right? Underground malls, because it's so freaking cold up there. So it was summertime, it's September kind of thing, and I heard on the radio in Canada that the Momentary Lapse of Reason just came out in stores now. So I immediately went down from the hotel down into the mall to a record store and I bought a cassette. And I listened to the first thing I did, we went to that track and listened to that song, Dogs of War, on my Sony Walkman.
That's a
And
great
I was
story.
blown away to the fact, number one, that I was on a Pink Floyd record, even though we started out with them, but they got so big, but I was on their record and I was on their record sounding like me, and kicking ass. And at the time, that's when I joined Blue Murder, and Sykes was on the 87 record, which they asked me to do before that. And I couldn't do it because I was signed to Capitol Records for King Kobra. And I told them I had my own snake to deal with, and then I recommended Ainsley. They got Ainsley to give Ainsley a percentage. He made a lot of money. This thing sold 27 million albums, and I shot myself in the head. And so they got Blow by Blow, that record. And I was also asked to join Rainbow before Cozy Powell, and I couldn't do it. And that went huge. So I shot my head 3 times.
Jeez. Can I finish off with a brother question? Because Mob Rules just turned 40. Were you paying attention to these records that Vinny was performing on?
I loved Dio. I loved Dio before my brother was with him. I loved his voice. So when he joined with my brother in Sabbath, I liked what I heard on the radio with that Heaven and Hell record, And then when my brother joined, I was never that crazy about Bill Ward's drumming. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't like for me it wasn't trend-setting, eye-opening, amazing drumming, like John Bonham or something, But it was good. It fit what they were doing. But when my brother joined and with Ronnie's voice, that was my favorite Black Sabbath, because Vinny and Ronnie made those other guys, Geezer and Tony, play different.
Yeah.
They played heavier, funkier, harder, and more kick-ass. So I had the album. I listened to. I knew the songs. I went to see them a bunch of times. And I was friends with all of them. When Black Sabbath came out, we did gigs with them with Cactus. We did double bill gigs with Cactus, and we almost got in a fist fight with them over a bag of pot, which made it to Circus Magazine. It's funny. But anyway, so I liked it. So like when we do the Drum Wars show, we do Mob Rules.
Okay.
And we play with double drums.
Nice.
And we don't do anything else from that. But when I play with King Kobra, we do Heaven and Hell with the audience. With Paul Shortino singing with the audience. Then we do a song that was on mine and Vinny's album called Monsters and Heroes. which is all about Ronnie James Dio, that Paul wrote when we were in King Kobra. We gave it to Wendy for her charity. And then when we got it back, we were doing the album with my brother. I said, we should put you on this. And Paul's singing. Paul's connected to Ronnie. I'm connected to Ronnie. You're connected to Ronnie. It's a natural for our album, you know? So we did it with double drums. So when King Kobra went to Sweden Rock Festival a few years ago, we played Heaven and Hell. Paul sang Heaven and Hell with the audience, you know?
Beautiful.
Paul in the audience. It was amazing. And then we went right into Monsters and Heroes. And in the end, we go, Monsters and Heroes, the audience sang with us. And it's all about Ronnie. If you know those lyrics, sing a song, singer, you're the man in the mountain we all love, you know. And Paul was managed by Ronnie and produced by Ronnie. So really connection.
Yeah,
you know?
no, absolutely.
Really, really, like you said, heartful connection. Ronnie was like our family. You know, he lived in LA, he didn't have any family. And he used to come to our Christmas parties and birthdays and weddings. And I got married in 1983. Ronnie was at the wedding. You know, I had all the Quiet Riot guy, all the LA, you know, rock stars were at my wedding there, you know. Then I wrote it off as a press party.
Right. Look, I have to sneak in. I know you have to go, but I love the Canadian connection with King Kobra and Kick-Axe, because Hunger is, what a beautiful song.
Well, that was Spencer Prophet, you know. I was working with Spencer with Vanilla Fudge, and me and Rick Derringer did a record with him. My solo album came out on Pasha in America. Around the rest of the world, it was on Rod's label, you know. And I created the drum sound there that he put on Quiet Riot, which sold, you know, zillions of records. And I used to bust Frankie's balls and say, you're the first guy to use my drum sound from the studio, and you sold all these millions of records with my drum sound. Thank you.
There's another bullet, right?
Yeah,
there's the fourth.
Yeah. So I was involved with Spencer, and you know, I got fired from Ozzy, and Sharon said, your name's too big. You need to start your own band. So I did. I already had Mark Free, was going to be on a solo record I was going to do. And so then I thought the opposite of Motley Crue, you know, 4 blondes and a black-haired guy instead of, you know, black-haired guy and, you know, the opposite, you know what I'm saying? 3 black-haired and a blonde. Right. So and then I had black and purple hair. And so we put colors in their hair and my hair. And it was a great, really cool concept for those days, you know? And the band, I made sure the guys played great and looked great. I didn't want guys that sucked, you know? Mark Free was a great vocalist, and I wanted great songs. So Spencer said, I got this song from this group, Kick-Axe, a great song. He was the producer. We're going to do this song. So he helped get the deal. So we said, okay. You know, he also brought this guy, Randy Bishop, in to help with lyrics, even though we didn't need the help. You know, we just catered to him because he helped get the deal. And he just produced Quiet Riot that sold 10 million albums or whatever it was. So that's how it happened, you know. And now that's on, there's a live version out that we did at Sweden Rock Festival of Hunger. That's on Deco Records, the same label that's released my Guitar Zeus. You know, so if you go online and look up King Kobra Live Sweden Rock, Deco Records, you know, you got the downloads there. And you hear Heaven and Hell, you hear Monsters and Heroes, you could hear Kick-Axe, the Kick-Axe song, Iron Eagle, you know, all the songs.
Amazing.